made them better. It definitely insulated them a lot more from the distance, from the cable.
He did what? He ran them under the ground, right?
He had them buried in the ground. And
so it's going to earth them and dissipate some of the EMF.
Yeah, it definitely, I reckon it reduced it by at least 50%. Which is, you know, sometimes there's not much you can do about it, but luckily they were able to do that.
I mean, you wonder what have we done to the Earth? I mean, the Earth is, we're electrical beings. The Earth is electrical. We got cell phone towers everywhere, like electrical cables everywhere, running through the Earth, running overhead. Like it used to be just radio waves, and now it's like 10 different types of frequencies. There's Wi-Fi running in our homes all the time. Like, how is that, you know, affecting us? And like, what do we do? And then on the, like, so we got on the physical level, you know, it's frequencies of the electromagnetic spectrum, but then there's kind of a spiritual or geomancy level. Like, how is it affecting the Earth, our bodies, our frequencies? What are your thoughts on that, Phil?
Well, I think it's catastrophic, Phil. Mm-hmm. I think it's absolutely catastrophic on people, because it's one of those hidden dangers. It's, you know, it's like Trump talks about the unseen enemy, mm-hmm. you know, and I think on that level, it's definitely like an unseen enemy, because no one can see it. Well, no one. The majority of people can't see it, and the majority of people can't feel it. So therefore it doesn't exist, and they're happy.
Right.
It's just like, you know, I had a mate of mine, and in his little boy's room was the router. Mm. I said, do you turn it off at night? No. I was like, so you've got your little boy sleeping with that router all the time? Yeah. So I kind of told them a bit of a scare story, and at night they turned it off, and then eventually they moved it. You know, which was really, really good. But, you know, EMF, because it's microwave energy, right? It goes beyond just an electrical field. It goes beyond, you know, 50 hertz or 60 hertz like we've got in our household electric, which actually is bad enough. You know, I can feel, when I came into the village one day a couple of years ago, and there was a power cut. I didn't know there was a power cut, but as I drove into the village was completely different. And I was like, wow, that's really funky. What's happened? What is going on? And I could feel it. And I got in the house, and Mum's like, oh, there's a power cut. And I was like, oh, wow, it makes that much difference.
It's huge. We were in California, we got it, and it was out for like a day or something, and it was incredible. We like kind of woke from this stupor, and we like walked outside the house, and there was other people kind of came out, and it was just like, you totally feel it. And I think people don't know, because it's this underlying we're constantly being hit, whether it's electricity, EMF, Wi-Fi, like radio frequencies, just all those things. Like, we don't even realize it, and then it stops, and it's like, whoa. You know?
And I think you're right, actually, Phil, because of course once the electricity stops in that area, everything stops.
Yeah.
So actually, it wasn't just the power cut, it was everything else that the power supplies in that local area. Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, whenever we have a power cut, it's just like, oh my God, it's so nice. So then people that have got metal fillings, either amalgam or gold, they're going to feel it even stronger, because that acts as antenna. And if you've got gold and silver, they actually play off of each other and create other frequencies in the mouth. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a big deal.
Right.
Yeah, it's a really big deal.
And then people like make this thing, it's not as strong as like a microwave oven, but it's like, it's not even about that. It's about this like constant subtle effect. And it's not just one, like, I mean, they haven't even really tested even just one, but if it was just one Wi-Fi signal, or one, you know, in the old times, like one radio signal, like, you know, your body can handle it. But it's not just that, it's multiple radio signals, multiple Wi-Fis, multiple cell towers, you know, electricity that's not being grounded properly, you know, all of those hitting the body at once. It's the accumulation of all those things. It's just like, if you take one in isolation, it's like, oh, you know, no problem. But it's like, it's one of those things. It's like the food, we'll get into that, but it's like, we don't look at the totality. We're in this isolation mentality. It's like, okay, this frequency, if it hits you, it's fine. But it's like, no, you're looking at like all of these frequencies and metal fillings and not being healthy enough to even handle it. And it's like totally going to knock the body out. So.
And to add to all that as well, you've got geopathic stress.
What's that?
You've got geopathic stress.
Right.
You know, geopathic stress creates microwaves. So you've got that as well.
Right.
Whereas before we would have just, you know, not even that many years, 100 years ago, well, not even probably 100 years ago. I don't know when electricity became mainstream, like in England. It was probably 60 years ago, I should think, it became mainstream in England. I mean, when I was a lad, Phil, 1984, I used to deliver the paper to a lady in the village, and she didn't have electricity.
Wow.
1984.
That's so cool.
She had no electric near her house. Did she have a telephone? I don't think she had a telephone either. I think she just had an old-fashioned wireless.
Well, I mean, we're in this kind of interesting like transition generation where we didn't grow up with like the excess. I mean, we were in the middle. Like I mean, I had electricity and we had a phone, like one phone in the house with a, you know, it was in one place. It wasn't even one with the long cable. It was just like, this is where the phone is. It was a rotary phone. Yeah. That was it. And it was like,
well, we
had a TV, so we had a TV, but
we didn't have a phone, Phil, or a TV.
Wow, that's pretty cool. But my mum would always kick me out. Don't watch that TV. Get outside. Like it was constant. Like, and I didn't get handed a device or something. It was like, go outside. Like she wanted me to go outside. Like you stop staring at the box. You know, it's like.
Yeah, you'll get square eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I think she did say that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we had what did we have? We had electric. we had a radio.
Uh-huh.
We had a stereo. We had a stereo with about 5 LPs. But yeah, we didn't have a telephone. You didn't have
TV. That's pretty darn cool.
No TV. We had a radio that Mum used to listen to the Archers.
I remember the Archers.
And when she was trying to get me to have an afternoon nap, I forget what she used to listen to, but she used to listen to something before we'd go and get the girls from school. And we used to go on our bikes. We used to bike to school. So we did have a car, but we were only allowed to use a car if it was raining. Otherwise, we biked to school or walked to school. Mm-hmm. It was a good mile to get to school. Yeah, interesting.
Right. Yeah, I could tune into the feeling now of like, you know, just running in the woods and climbing trees and like it just feels so freeing. And even like when I went to England this past time, just like every day I was like, get out, like way out into the woods and jump in the water. Just one sec. Dogs barking outside.
Yeah, those because Kay and I both came to visit you, didn't we? And
yeah.
And the water, when we were up there, the water was wild, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's like that's the natural electricity. That is electric. I mean, we're almost like, well, don't you like electricity? It's like, no, like life is electricity. Life is frequencies, but it's a type of frequencies. We want ones that are harmonic with the body, and you go and you like stand by a waterfall. Like everybody knows that. Everybody feels that. You stand in a woods, you stand by a waterfall, or you stand on the beach. Like those frequencies, those energies are enhancing, but you sit at a computer all day and you feel drained. But if you sit in the woods all day, you feel amazing. Like it's like this. It's like, but there's amazing amounts of frequencies. There's like the colors, the different trees, the flowers, the soil. You know, the microorganisms, they're all putting off different energetics and different frequencies. The sunshine, you know, that's radiation in the sunshine. Oh my God, it's radiation, but it's like, it's ones that our bodies are used to, and it's a harmony.
Yeah, you know, and I think that's what, you know, if you go back to look at Nikola, I know you've looked at it, Phil, Nikola Tesla's work. Mm-hmm. And the resonance that, you know, he was going to send wireless electricity around the planet that was harmless to humans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't even imagine harmless wireless electricity.
Yeah. How does that even work?
Because, you know, it's a little bit like the days of video tapes, if you remember, when they had Betamax and VHS. And the Betamax was the best, but the crappy VHS won for whatever reason. And it's a little bit like the Tesla energy is the best, but the EMF energy won.
Right.
Dirty, polluting, toxic, and it won.
Yeah.
But the Tesla energy that was kind of energizing and just amazing it just got shelved.
I mean, there's many examples of that in the world today, where it's like, what, like, how did that battle get lost? You know?
Well, why was there a battle? You know, how was there even a battle?
Right.
You've got one form of electric that is totally harmful,
mm-hmm.
one sort of electric that isn't harmful. Why is there even a conversation to be had?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't battle over, oh, Phil, you've got an electric that's really good, I've got an electric that's really bad. Let's fight to see which one wins. It's like, it's obvious which one's going to win in my world. It's the one that's going to,
mm-hmm.
you know, do no harm, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's there's many technologies that are in harmony. And you know about geomancy and earth energies and Stonehenge or pyramids, or like, these are all in harmony with the earth. Like, they're picking up on the earth energies, you know, and we kind of got into this like box lifestyle where it's not working.
I mean, you know, I think we're in a state of emergency, the human race, at this moment in time. And I think, you know, everyone's looking at global warming, but actually maybe global warming isn't the major thing. Maybe, you know, maybe actually we need to figure out other things.
Well, it's a distraction, I think, and it's the focus on CO2. Like, CO2 is just a natural gas. Like, we need it.
Well,
but instead, we're not. Go ahead.
I learned the other day, Phil, about carbon, right?
Mm-hmm.
When carbon's in the soil, it's called carbon.
Mm-hmm.
When you stick a fork in the soil and you turn it over,
mm-hmm.
or you get a tractor and stick a plow in the soil and turn the soil over, the carbon, which we need to build human beings, gets released into the atmosphere and becomes CO2. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
So CO2, when it's in its kind of enclosed self in the earth, is carbon. I didn't know that. I was listening to a gardener.
Well, yeah, I've definitely heard that. I understand that we can, if we need to, we can collect a lot of excess, if there's excess carbon dioxide in the soil. So that is a way of healing the, you know, thing. So.
But of course, the other way to gobble up CO2 is plant trees, right?
Yeah.
Clean the oceans up. Get things like marine phytoplankton. You know, get all those things that consume massive amounts of CO2.
Yeah, and I think that's the message that we hear. If this was really the problem, like, we have the solutions. It's the same with the virus. Like, we have all the solutions. Like, we know that if carbon dioxide was the problem, which we question whether it is, because carbon dioxide is just a natural gas and the trees need it and we need it. But if it was the problem, we got tons of solutions. Like I say, planting trees, regenerative agriculture, you know, just like all of these like natural things that we can do, phytoplankton, all these things that will about hemp, growing more plants.
Hemp fixes massive amounts of CO2.
So we're just working with nature instead of against it. Oh, carbon dioxide is bad. Okay, we need to ban these things. It's like, okay, well, maybe that's the solution, but you know, there's other ways to do it that work in harmony with nature.
You know, like all these forest fires, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the cause of forest fires? I mean, I'm not going to go into that on this show, but
well, we can look at we've blocked the forest from naturally managing themselves. So,
but also if you look at aerosol spraying, it's aluminium based, right?
Right.
So nano-sized aluminium particles become highly combustible.
Right.
That little download when I was in bed last night. It's like, oh, yeah, who's not talking about that? Who's not talking about nano-sized aluminium particles?
Right.
That actually become highly combustible. I'm not saying this is the problem.
Yeah. No, it's just it's part of, like, I think that's what we always know. It's like somebody says, well, that's not it. It's like, well, no, we know that, but it is part of the issue. It's a compound effect. It's like, sure, one Wi-Fi in the home, probably not the issue, but, you know, I mean, for me, I'm in an apartment and I can see like 10 different Wi-Fis, or maybe even more, like on and off, whether it's a printer that I can see the Wi-Fi of or somebody's cell phone. It's the accumulation. But one, it's like, no problem, you know? It's like,
no, I don't think one is no problem.
no, but you know what I'm saying. It's like the body can deal with it. You can walk outside, but like, I agree with you, but it's like this accumulative effect.
I think there though, Phil, I know you agree with me. However, I think there, you know, we need to keep that awareness for people that actually one Wi-Fi is a problem.
Yeah. It's really good.
So we have to stay aware that one Wi-Fi is, you know, Bluetooth's a major problem. You know, Wi-Fi is about, as far as I know, it's about 13,000 hertz, and Bluetooth's about 6,000 to 8,000 hertz.
Well, people are like saying, well, it's only a little microcurrent. But then as you start to understand the body's working on these like tiny microcurrents, the heart and the blood and the brain, like, and people go, oh, well, it's just little. Like, no, it's actually affecting the subtle nervous system of the body.
Well, if you look at the immune, as far as I'm aware, Phil, the immune system breaks down at 32 hertz, right? Mm-hmm. So household electric, I can't remember which way around it is in England, it's either 50 or 60 hertz. And I don't know which way round it is between the two countries. So you've already got 50 or 60 hertz against 32. The helium frequencies are 7.82 hertz. And then you've got microwaves at 12 to 13,000 hertz. So he's looking for something now. What are you looking for?
What's that?
I said you're looking for something now. What are you looking for?
No, I was looking up. I was like, what is it? 1.17 hertz is the heart, according to one website here.
Right.
It beats a contract 70 times a minute. Standardized result 1.17 hertz. There's actually a few places that say that. Baby's heart is a little bit higher, so baby's heart can be 1.2 to 2. But yeah, it's around the 1 to 2 hertz range is the heart. So
wow.
So do you think like 60 hertz is going to have an effect on that, or what is a standard Wi-Fi?
I'm just looking it up, Phil.
Okay.
That's a really good idea to actually get
2.5 gigahertz, 2.4 to 5 gigahertz.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we got the poor little heart. It's like, and it's like being hit with these energies.
Well, that's Phil. That's shocking.
Yeah.
So what's a gigahertz what's a gigahertz?
Is that 1,000 megahertz?
So it's 2.4 thousand megahertz.
Wow.
So that's even worse than I thought it was. No, it isn't. 2.4. So it's 2,500 megahertz.
So then the brain, look at the brain, the 5 frequencies of the brain. We really want to be kind of more in frequency range beta. We want to be more in the lower beta, which is about 12 hertz. So too much beta waves up to 40 hertz, right? So we're talking about these frequencies that are higher. Too much beta is adrenal. So when we get adrenalized with stress, that's when our brain is in high beta frequencies. Yeah. And then if we're too little, it's like we're kind of chilled out and daydreaming and stuff like that. But the stress is like really frying the body, and like so just making these connections now. Like no wonder people are tired all the time and constantly stressed because they're constantly being hit with these high frequencies that are causing a constant adrenaline response. I mean, we understand the fight flight, we understand that thing where it's like okay, if the animal gets in fight flight, they run and they feel better. But we don't do that. We're in, like, let alone we're in these, work environments where we get stressed, or family things and we get stressed and we don't move. Then we're also compounded with continually being hit with these different frequencies. It's gonna screw the body up big time.
So a gigahertz, Phil,
Yeah.
is 1,000,000 hertz.
Whoa.
No, how many? This is ridiculous. I can't. I don't know. There's 1 gigahertz is equal to 1, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 zeros after a 1. So what's that? 1,000,000.
Million.
1,000,000. 1,000,000. That's worse than I thought, Phil. So,
well, we're not the best at math here, but we got the idea that it's pretty extreme.
2.4 gigahertz is 2.4 million hertz, and the human immune system breaks down at 32.
Right.
I think we're in trouble, Phil.
I think so. So I mean, I didn't even think about this. Everybody has these house phones that are kind of mini Wi-Fi's too, and sometimes that's actually worse. Like you've got that, what's it called, the constantly on little phone thing. What do you call it, decked phone or something in the UK?
Decked phone. They create a microwave frequency once a minute, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So they pulse out. Mm-hmm. The same as a mobile phone.
And the thing is, they don't even need this. There's somebody who has created a Wi-Fi router that doesn't put the frequency out as often, but it's just as efficient. But we have these things that it puts them out every second or every whatever it is, second, minute, but it's just like excess. Like it doesn't even need to be that powerful, but it's overpowered for some reason.
Right, that's blown me away, Phil. 1,000,000 hertz in a gigahertz.
Guess what? It's hurting us.
It's hurting us. Wow, that's blown that. Not much blows my mind, but man, that just blew my mind.
Well, think about that, and then like in the brain, it's operating at the 10 to 20 kind of hertz frequencies, and then what do we say on the heart? The heart is like 1 hertz.
Yeah.
So do you think that's going to have an effect on our heart and our brains and our nervous system continually? Well, I'm blown away too. We're like going on.
Wow.
So, okay, what can we do about it? I mean, we're going to minimize our exposure. So definitely working towards, the first step is like, okay, you got a Wi-Fi, turn it off at night. That's going to be number one, like mandatory thing. It's like, if you can do anything, turn that Wi-Fi off at night if you're still going to keep the Wi-Fi.
Phil, I put something in now. Immune function and host defense. It says, so to host defense in rodents, if they get exposed to 50 to 60 hertz, they don't like it. Yeah, I can't find what I was looking for easily.
So we're going to minimizing exposure. So really turning your Wi-Fi off at night, don't having a Wi-Fi, having a plugged in computer. So with a cable.
Yeah, have it hardwired, right?
Hardwire is ideal.
They call that an Ethernet cable, don't they?
Yeah. And there's actually Ethernet cables that are shielded. It's called a shielded Ethernet cable. So that minimizes anything coming off the cable. It's kind of getting more subtle. So it's called Cat 7. So Cat 7 is a shielded cable. So
interesting.
So we have the technology, we can design these things. We can have, so it's the concept of dirty electricity, which I'm sure you've heard of. where if your house is not properly grounded, it's putting off incoherent frequencies. But a properly, I know we can do things better, but a properly grounded house is going to be much healthier. So you want to have that checked out, because if it's not, it's putting out all sorts of incoherent frequencies.
So the other thing as well to bring to people's awareness, when you plug in, if I got one handy, I haven't even got one. When you plug in things like phone chargers, they create dirty electric. Mm-hmm. And because it's connected to your electric circuit, it pollutes the whole house. So what we need to be doing is charge your phone, unplug it. This is the key. Unplug, whatever so I got my mum and dad some deck phones that they only send a signal when the bass rings. They never send a signal unless the phone's ringing. That's really cool. That makes sense. So they don't communicate with each other. Then the bass rings and it finds the handset. Cool. That's really cool. So that makes a massive difference. So there's lots of little things we can do that actually, again, we were talking about it not being one thing but lots of things. So like turn off your power, to turn off your telly, because when your television's got an LED on it, that's generating some power. So anything that especially things like what are they called, the essential oil, what are they called, Phil, when you plug an essential oil burner in and it heats up the oil? Diffusers. They have one of these. It's basically when you see a plug that reduces the energy, the electric down from 240 volts to say 9.6 volts. They're the problem. So when you're not using stuff, just turn it off, unplug it. So there's lots of there's lots of little things that we can do that end up, the same as all these things that are coming into us. One at a time we can deal with, 50 we can't. So take some responsibility in your own house. Turn off the Wi-Fi at night. I'm sure me and Phil have covered this before. Turn off things that you don't need. So if you've got your phone charger, if your phone charger is in all the time, just unplug it. Right? Simple. If you just turn things off. With your router, that's going to have one of those transformers and turn it off. Just turn things off. One thing we have in our bedroom, we have the bed away from the walls. So you have a space around bed. So because if your bed is against the wall and there's electricity running through that wall, then that's going to affect your brain at night. So we have our bed pulled away from the wall and kind of more in the middle of the room. And then I have a clock, but I have one of those like daylight alarm clocks. So it doesn't jar you awake, but like the light comes on. It really does work actually. So you just wake up more naturally, and it doesn't go, you don't go, dawn alarm, it's like it gradually wakes you up. So I have one of those, Phil, and but it's a little away from the bed. It's like not right next to my head or anything. So I used to wake up and the room was dark because I'd missed it. Didn't work for you. Didn't work for me. Great, lovely things, but no, it didn't work for me. I'd wake up and go, "Oh, what happened?" And it's like, "Oh, I missed the daylight." Yeah, Susan doesn't wake up either, but it works for me. Yeah, no, if they can work, they're brilliant things. I mean, it's in an ideal world, I'd live in a yurt. Well, I'd sleep in a yurt in the garden. In an ideal world. Yeah. That would be my ideal, just to sleep away from it all. And I think we crave that. It's like we're looking for something, and just like. And I think everybody's looking for that. And I think it's a connection to nature again. Like we're so disconnected, and we're all craving something, but we don't know what we're craving. It's a connection to nature and the universe. Phil, I think you're absolutely right, because when I used to go and hang out with my granddad, I didn't have that lack. Right. And we were in the woods all day. And I didn't have that lack. But actually, when I came back to to normal life, I had that. Actually, I didn't have it growing up because, you know, I grew up, as a kid, I grew up right out in the countryside. You know, there was a farm, I don't know, a 5-minute walk away, and my mate was 2 or 3 fields away. And so that was very, very different. And things definitely changed when we moved into the village. There was definitely more of a lack. The more disconnected I've got from the earth, you know, the busier I've got, the more I've come away from the earth into kind of normal life, should I say. I've definitely felt that real big lack.
And I was just thinking the other day, like there was people having some conversation on Facebook and they're arguing with each other at left, you know, the left and right, and I'm just like, you know, we like, and I think this is kind of tuning into this exact thing. I was like, look, if we just sat beside a fire together in the woods, we wouldn't be treating each other like this. We might get a little bit mad or scream a little bit, but then it'd be like, we'd start to like calm down and come into harmony with each other. And we'd see each other eye to eye, and we wouldn't be arguing about these ridiculous things that we're arguing about. We'd be like, we'd give somebody a hug and, you know, stare into the fire and like hug a tree. It's like, we've come more into harmony with nature. And so we're all on these technologies and these Zoom calls, and like it's getting crazier.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, I used to run a spiritual development group, and that's what we did. We sat by the river, around the fire, in all weathers. You know, if it was thrashing down with rain, we didn't, because it was, you know, that got a bit too uncomfortable. But we did it in light rain, and I've done it so. You know, we've done it so when we've got up and are, you know, sitting around the fire in the winter, we've gone to pick something up, it's been frozen.
Right.
You know, that's an amazing gift for people, just to come and connect with. That's to let me know that our show's on, but that's next weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to share a little thing with you. You like this one? Have you seen that one?
Oh no, I haven't.
You see that? Can I call you back? I'm watching a live stream.
That is the best, isn't it? Yeah, that's the best, Phil.
Yeah.
That's where it's at, isn't it? Watching live streams.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I gotta go in a little bit. That's why we did this call earlier. So we might need to cut it a little short. Susan's like, we gotta go. I'm like, okay.
We gotta go. I'm like getting dressed.
She's getting dressed.
I'll tell you what. We met the nicest people at the First Arabic Baptist Church, and they aired a thing on CBD, and I told them I wanted to go to church this weekend. So that's what I'm getting ready for. We've got
it's a raw food friend, and he's really conscious. We did a CBD thing, and we're probably going to show. There's a new documentary with David Icke.
Yeah, they're helping
Natural.
us by showing controversial films. Yeah.
Oh wow!
It's really exciting.
Well, we've got to get David Icke on, Phil, to talk about natural world and what we can do.
Oh yeah. We have 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. It knows that short.
That's a really, so what I'm going to do, Phil, is I'm going to take some B12 patches.
Okay.
Nice. Some B12 patches.
And that was based on your blood work, saying you're a little bit low on B12.
Yeah, based on my blood work, I'm low on B12 because it seems to be a gut thing. Not just a diet thing, but actually the fact that I can't methylate the B12, so it doesn't really matter what I put in. So the thing with the B12 patches is it bypasses the gut.
And which is, you have a problem of absorption. So
yeah, so there's an absorption. There's a methylation problem, which means I can't break down and utilize the B12. So this is a methylcobalamin, so it's an activated source of B12, and I absorb it straight into my bloodstream. So I'm going to be, it says up to 7 months supply, but I don't think it's going to last me very long.
Right. So do you want to put it on at night? Could it energize you? Or probably not right now if your energy is a little bit lower, but it's probably going to be fine.
I'll tell you what, now you've said that, I'm going to put it on in the morning. I was going to put it on now, but I'm going to put it on in the morning.
Just in case, like if you're...
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a strong reaction to B12 before, but these are 5,000 micrograms.
Right.
I think the most I've ever used before was 1,000. So it says put one on for a minimum of 8 hours and a maximum of 24 hours, and you can do it every day. So I'm going to do it every day, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it might take a while for your reserves to build back up again. They've been... Yeah,
exactly. So I'm going to give that a go, Phil, and I would have done 6 or 7 by the time we speak again. So I will know whether I personally have any reaction to that or not. So let's just pray to God, man. Do some prayer. You're going to church. Pray for me.
All right. This is a fun thing. All right. Well,
I love you. Thank you. Love you lots, brother.
Great
and
show.
If we don't see you before, we will see you Sunday.
Yep.
So thanks for watching. This has been
the Phil and Phil Show.
So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you've seen us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to our channel. And if you love what we're doing and you want to support us, please donate so we can keep this rocking and keep bringing you great information as we find it.
What a fabulous show. Who knew that was going to be today? It was great.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate you, Ran.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Bye.